Hey, physics friends. My name is Mr. Hare. I wanted to take a few minutes to just introduce myself and talk to you, just to give you an intro to what you're up against this year with physics. I went to high school. My first name's Matt. I went to high school in Cuba City, just down the road. I went to college at UW-Platteville, just across town. From there, I've kind of taken me all over the place. I took a job teaching in Hawaii for 2 years. I taught at a private school on the west coast of Oahu for a year, teaching 7th and 8th grade math. And then I spent another year teaching at a really high-end private preparatory academy on the east coast for a year. Then I spent 10 years near Milwaukee in a town called East Troy, just on Interstate 43 between Beloit and Milwaukee. And I've been teaching here at Platteville since 2007, I think. So I've got 3 daughters. Maya is my oldest, and Sadie, she's 2 years below her, and then Isla is 3 years below her. Right now, Maya's in 4th grade. Sadie's in 2nd grade. I'm married, or my wife's name is Amanda. She works virtually. She's been working virtually for 10 years, so once everybody went virtual in 2020, it was very similar. She had a pretty good leg up. So she's a market research analyst, so she does a lot of data. Looks at a lot of data for companies to see how they can improve. Like, for instance, I tell people the Milwaukee Brewers actually hired my wife's company to just survey their season ticket holders to see what could we be doing differently. Are there experiences that we could offer that would make it more enjoyable? How can we make more money ultimately? So a lot of people, companies will hire my wife and her firm to answer those questions for her. Let's talk about physics. This is the physics website. I don't know how much we'll be using it this year. We'll see. It's got lots of great stuff in it. I typically will populate this calendar. If you ever want to know kind of what you're up against, you can go back to previous years. This is last year. You can figure out just kind of idea of how often things are going to happen. Inside, these are all the units that we're going to be going through inside of basic training. These are I've been what's called flipping the classroom for 10 years now. And so we do lectures outside of class, and then when we're in class, we do the homework. So you get to sit next to your friends and do your worksheets. You get to have me ask questions too. A lot of people find it very useful to be able to think about how often have you ever been sitting at home doing homework and you're like, I don't understand how to do this. But now you have nobody to ask. So imagine sitting in class and having your neighbor and like, oh yeah, you do that. Oh, so you constantly have someone to do your work with. And if your neighbor can't answer, you just, hey, Mr. Hare, I don't understand how to do this. Can you explain this again? Yeah. So that's the whole idea of flipping the classroom is these videos that you're going to watch, you don't have to understand them. Please don't ever think that when you watch a video, you're not expected to get it. Like all I expect you to do is to write down some notes. But if you don't get it, that is okay. When you come to class, we'll work through the issues. Like I'll talk to you about common mistakes. I'll give you some practice problems, and we'll go from there. So know that if you're watching a video and you don't understand something, you're normal. In fact, very few people actually get this from watching a video. It takes time. It takes questions. But the moral is listen to learn and question to understand. Listen to learn, but then question to understand. Ask lots of questions. We're going to be primarily using Schoology. So right now I've got a unit set up for you guys where inside of Unit 1 Basic Training there's all of our lectures. So there's a lecture, and then I've got like just a quick check for understanding. It's not graded, but I'm just making sure that you understand how to do your prefixes. And so it's very linear in nature. You just kind of work your way through all this stuff as you get to it. So it's kind of nice. I think that you can go through it at your own pace. If you don't get something, we can come in and we can talk. If you're 100% virtual, we'll make sure that we get a time for you to talk to me. So I know that you probably have lots of questions and lots of concerns, and I probably have answers for maybe 2% of them. We're going to figure this out together. I promise that it's going to be okay. Just to show you a little bit of data of what you're working with here. This was the grades for physics at the end of the first semester last year. So you can kind of maybe know where you kind of stand as far as people are concerned. And this was the grades at the end of last year. So I don't know what you've heard about physics, but I honestly think that if we can get you what you want. And I don't think that anyone needs to worry about getting a D or an F, because if you give us some honest effort, I think that we can be okay. I want to share with you a video. It's entitled 51 Seconds That You Cannot Afford to Lose. And I think it's a great message. It's this guy, he lives down in New Zealand, so he's going to have a fun accent. You're going to enjoy it. But he talks about fishing, and it's a really good story for life.
How you going? Are you well? I'm out here to see my little boat, and I just nailed my very first snapper for the season. Hold it right there, boy, so it doesn't look so bloody big. Jeez, Clay Tool Stories. In the bin, on some ice, stoked as. Now, I'm on my little boat here, and I was just thinking, you know, if this little 3.3 Mercury broke down out here, what would I do if the wind was blowing me out to sea? Well, I'd probably put my ego aside and tell one of my mates on the telephone, hey, I'm broken down, can you come and pick me up? Or if I was way out at sea and my paddle was too hard to paddle out back into shore, I'd probably ring up the Coast Guard. Well, same thing applies to you. If you have a breakdown, like a mental breakdown, your head breaks down, because that bit of jelly between your ears, occasionally, just like a motor on a boat, can break down. So put your ego aside if you're going through a hard patch and you've had a breakdown, and call someone. Call someone, say, hey man, I've had a breakdown or I need help. And that way you'll be sweet as, bro. And good luck with your fishing. Be good, and if you can't be good, be careful. See you later.
Put your ego aside and ask for help. I think that that's the number one thing to be an effective physics student. Like if my most effective physics students, everybody kind of comes in knowing the same amount, but some people are just meteoric in their ability to absorb this material. And it's because I think that they put their ego aside and they say, hey, Mr. Hay, I don't get this. It's okay not to get something. And it's okay not to be feeling all right. You know, like just know that in our lives that's okay. And being able to set your ego aside and, I don't ask for help. I mean, that's like the classic man thing, you know, like put that aside and just, hey, Mr. Hay, I don't get this. It's real simple. I mean, a lot of times I can iron people out just like that. What would take you a long time to try to figure out what the issue is, a professional can help you. And there's a lot of people in your lives who really care about you and who are good at helping you out. You know, we've got some incredible people here at Platteville High School, and we want nothing more than to see you succeed. So, I look forward to getting to know you over the year, and I promise it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have, I don't exactly know how things are going to go. I'm basically going to be treating you as if you're all virtual, but when you're with me, we'll blow stuff up, we'll set things on fire, it'll be shoot things, it's going to be all sorts of fun stuff in class to show you how this physics stuff that you're learning through these videos, like what it actually means, and how like when you see it, like to me physics was always, it was so much my favorite because I could see it. I'm like, oh, if I drop these things, they do hit the same time. Oh yeah, like it's so tangible. It's nothing that you don't have to memorize. It's just how the universe works, and you're like, you can relate one thing to the other. I love it. I absolutely love it. It makes you think. And so I'm very excited to have you. Thanks for sticking with me for these 9 minutes. And we'll see you later on in real life. Take it easy.